Welcome to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
Fire FAQ series number 2.
Alex,
you know,
are you ready?
I am ready. I didn't realize this. I don't know what my subconscious deal is, but you know, and a lot of my friends call me out. I'm wearing like 5 shades of blue, and I'm sitting in a blue chair.
Yeah. There's isn't there a movie about that?
I have no idea, but I can't.
There's like 50 Shades of Blue.
I have different color clothing in my wardrobe, in my closet. I just don't get it. I don't know why my body.
We're so. It's like I have this thing where I have to because I'm going to the gym right after that.
Yeah,
but I have to match brands. It's like I have a Reebok shirt on. Reebok shoes.
Dude, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just I'm like, oh, that'll work, and then I realize,
it's
all blue.
That's why Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg did the thing they did.
Yeah, I guess they did the thing they did. I don't know what my deal is though.
That's good. Blue. Maybe you were in the mood for blue today.
I feel like I'm in the mood for blue 300 days out of the year, and the other 56 I'm wearing something else.
Very, very. Yeah, you had some cattle jacket on the other day.
Yeah,
you look like you were Australian.
Felt great.
Yeah, it was like it felt like that. What was that material they used to make like hats out of, and it could get rained on?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about. It's like I think it's like a
it's like a moleskin.
Yeah.
I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah, and it had like somebody will know. I think there's like Filson hats or something like that.
Filson.
Yeah, and it had oil. It was oiled.
I had my oil wax jacket, barber jacket.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were looking very.
It was blue. It was blue.
There you go.
Now that I think about it, I live in a blue nightmare.
Speaking of nightmare,
what are you talking about? A buyer FAQ.
We are, because it's a nightmare to buy data nowadays.
Oh, it is. Just trying to.
And to make sure it's legit.
Yes.
and quality.
Yeah.
Quality, I think, is where everyone's at right now. It's like, can I buy some quality data?
Yeah. Can I buy a quality car or a quality product from Walmart? Probably not Walmart, but
right.
But that's what it is. That's what it's starting to boil down to. They're like, we've been spending all of this money on all this stuff. It's not giving us any answers. The data has no depth. It has no identifiable markers in it. We're wasting our cash. Is there anything out there? Is there a feasible, easy option?
Well, I mean, the worst part is you're just collecting worthless data. So what does that do to your systems?
But it makes them feel good.
I know, yeah. It's like, oh, we got 200 million email addresses.
Yeah, we had a guy that came to us and
what are those?
He's like, we have so much data. Okay, well, why do you need more? Oh, because it's not giving us any answers. Oh, okay, great. Fantastic.
It's like a hoarding of data.
No, it's funny. It's like everything we say is not nonsense.
Right.
It's just legitimately how it is.
It's crazy. So let's get into, since this is the second episode, if you haven't listened to the first one's about data recruitment life cycles and then how we ultimately lead to a completed buyer-seller transaction. Go back to YouTube playlist, just on if you wanted to buy data. We have all that, explains everything.
Yeah.
Extremely transparent. Number 2, a closer examination of the impact of market forces, buyers, and the ongoing relationship with sellers. This one's important.
Yeah. So if you go back to our motto for TARTLE, it's share data,
right?
Earn money,
right?
Change your world. These have a strong gearing towards the individual that's selling the information. Now, when we talk about shared data, I want you to just quote exactly what I wrote, and I will go in and describe this.
The way the seller is introduced into the marketplace is found in our motto. Earn data, change money, earn your world. Do you like that? No, great. I made tons of different variations.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 of them, and you can make all these different. I did like 9 different variations, and they all sound amazing. It's intertrans. What do you call that? There's a word for that. They're like independence of each other on each of the words. We know. Sorry, I'm way off. Okay, so share data, earn money, change your world.
Yeah,
that's our motto.
Let's talk about sharing data. Yeah.
Let us examine how this breaks down and affects the current relationship between buyer and data. Share data. The vision is a world of perfect information transfer.
Yeah, so we are creating a tool that will allow this world to move information that was otherwise locked down,
right,
or non-existent, and allow it to seamlessly transact between person and person. This is outside of the financial aspect of the marketplace. That is an incentive. What we want to do is make sure that information that is needed can get to the people that need it. That's what it is. And the people that are sharing it can share it towards causes that they care about. So if you, as someone that is creating a data packet, want to say that we are the American Heart Association, we are looking to purchase data,
Right.
health data, social determinants of health, anything like that, from a body of people here in the United States, we would like you to share it towards that cause. And we want to tell you how we're going to use that data.
Right.
So now the seller on the other side's like, okay, I can feel good about this. This is something I can support. And I like the fact to know that this is how they're going to use the information that I'm giving over to them. So every single one of those transactions, if the buyer chooses to do so, can share what the use of that data will be and what cause it goes towards. So beyond a financial incentive for the seller, it's the altruistic part of it where they're looking at it as like, look at me helping in a large systematic, effort, a unifying effort of all these people coming together to say, look at the change we've created.
Yeah, and I want you to, if you don't mind, clarify proper incentive.
Yeah, proper incentive, okay? What incentive do I have to share information with a stranger?
Really, there's none. Unless
That's my point.
Unless you're just secretly trying to, with these, which I would never trust a cookie that's looking at me. Would you ever eat a cookie that's looking at you?
A cookie that looks at me, no.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
No, it bothers me.
Yeah.
No, but you have no incentive.
Right.
So without a proper incentive and an incentive that works and is globally understood,
Right.
you're not going to be able to move that information or get information that otherwise people would choose not to share. So when we talk about earning money, which is point 2, that proper incentive is paying individuals for that information. It's valuable to you. You know what you're going to do with it. And you should also share to them whatever that value might be, because they should be a benefactor also. They're the one that put the labor in to create that data for you.
Yeah, and you use the key words here, unlocking the data from personal silos.
Yeah, so every person is their own individual silo. Whether it's a relationship that we have, okay, like a romantic or,
Right.
business, whatever it might be, you're your own silo and you choose to share when you want to share. But if you have someone that's totally a stranger coming in to unlock that information, those people require a financial incentive. And if you can come on top and say, here's the altruistic reason why you should be doing it too, now they're really incentivized to share that data.
Yeah, and I always picture, and this is what I love about TARTLE, I always picture it like a relationship. I can gain information by being passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And kind of being, a little ticked off, but then at the same time, just watch your mannerisms, languages. Maybe I'm in an argument with a loved one or something. Or I can say, let's sit down and have a truthful conversation.
Yeah.
Let's have a meaningful conversation right now. What is going to solve the problem and be more truthful and accurate?
That's correct. And that's what we're doing. We facilitate a transaction, the relationship between buyer and seller.
Right.
That's what we're here to do. And we want that truthful information to be shared. And economic incentive and an altruistic incentive, and then showing people the benefit of that sharing, causes them to be more truthful.
Yeah, and you make a statement here, and I want you to explain all 3 of these. A constant driven transaction, logical, fair, and efficient. So get into between both parties. I think that's important. We want it to be fair between both parties, but get into logical, fair, and efficient.
So what's logical about it? Frankly, everything.
Right.
Okay. Our logic is if somebody owns something, they choose to sell it like a manufactured a widget. That's the logic of that. Okay. And the financial incentive is that some person comes in, I want to purchase that widget. Okay. So we're just going to translate that model into what data is. What's the second point?
Efficient.
It's efficient. Why is it efficient?
Right.
Everything works on a 24-hour bid cycle. It doesn't cost you any barrier to entry to come in, and you only pay for exactly what you need, and it's instantly transferred to you. And that data itself, depending on the quality of how you ask that question,
Right.
okay, or ask for that type of data, is going to define the quality you're going to receive from the sellers. If I do a poor job, being Socratic, people aren't going to learn. Correct?
Yes. No.
Did you see what I just did?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But I mean, it goes into the fair part. I think that, because it's logical, fair, and efficient. I know we're talking about efficient, but whenever I'm looking at, you teaching me something, I think of fairness.
Yeah, you think of fairness. And when we think, and on top of fairness, when we think of efficiency, we think one person wins.
Yes. Yeah.
We've lived in a world where it's just like, oh, to be efficient, it's I have to claim the resources.
There has to be a loser.
Yeah. We don't have to have a loser. Right. Both parties can win. And so there's a fairness in this transaction. You're respecting me for my data, paying me for it, and I'm respecting you by sharing it towards a cause that you need to solve. And together, through that fairness, we've both solved an issue that we both care about.
Yeah, and I think that is the way, and we've talked about this many times, but that's the way the world is going. We don't want to have blood diamonds. We don't want to have food that's manufactured off of the backs of 8-year-old kids in a different country.
Yep.
It's the same with your data. You don't want to have, some nefarious way that this information was getting to you and somebody lost. Their data was, they were deceived in giving their data. And it's truly...
They were deceived, coerced.
Yes, it's truly fair and honest in the application of you purchasing this data.
Yeah, and it shows that you as a company have a deep respect for these individuals.
Yes.
And what was that statistic we were looking at? 68% of...
Yeah, it was 68, 67, something like that.
Yeah, 68, 7% of Fortune 500 companies, their leaders feel they are doing the right thing. You're okay?
Yes.
They're not even really sure. They just feel they're doing it.
Right.
But then, and for our buyers, some of them fall into that bracket. And then for the sellers, the people that actually interact with these companies, 16% only felt they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, I would think most people think corporations are not.
That's correct. So for the majority of the public, if you really want to build some goodwill and value them for who they are, you can build a lot of goodwill using the TARTLE marketplace.
Yes, exactly. And it's a way, and you'll see that when you go on there and log in, create your account. It's free, by the way, to do. You can poke around after that.
Poke around all day.
Yeah, so share data, earn money, change your world. Mm-hmm. This is the final pillar that defines the strongest part of the ongoing relationship between buyers and sellers and the impact of sharing data towards causes that one cares about or is personally affected by.
That's correct. We've seen, in politics, you see polarization.
Mm-hmm.
And with data and technology and the people creating that data, there's polarization too. So how do we look at both these poles and get them to work together? Something that, albeit quite difficult in politics, we've created a tool that both people find a shared value in. And in doing so, they can facilitate their data towards a collective cause so that they can change their world. For a seller, they can change it financially, economically, right? And they can also change it in the stance that I've shared data towards maybe some sort of disease research, so I feel better about my 4 children.
Yes, I love
knowing that
yes.
I pushed forward.
Mm-hmm.
If I have 35 years of a medical record and I want to share it to CVS Health or whoever it might be or some biopharmaceutical firm, because I know this is how they're going to be using it, I want to do that. I want to brighten my children's future. Okay, and that's in a big altruistic sense, but there's a lot of people in our system that feel that way, and our sellers fall into, I guess, 3 categories. The first one would be, I just want to earn money for my information. That's it. I just want the economic incentive. And that's dependent on the culture from those people anywhere in the world. The second person is, I don't really need the money, but I like the idea of sharing information towards a cause I really care about. Great. And then the third one is the person that's the blend. I like receiving the extra income, and I like the fact that I can have a direct impact on these problems, major problems, beyond whatever my little localized life may be. I can have reach all across the globe.
Yeah, and I want people to understand our priority in building community and how we can build community through data.
Yeah, listen, our users, especially the sellers, there are data champions.
Right. They're
on their own journeys. And so to come in and you can help them on that journey, and then they can help you, that builds an online culture that has been missed for a long time. We've had such a black box online culture. Right. No one knows what's going on. It lacks transparency. I don't know where my data went, how it's being used. That doesn't need to be like that anymore. We can live in a world of truth and transparency, that we can all effectively live in a culture that is online and is understood by all. Even if people have a separate culture in Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, India, China, they all have all their subcultures, right? But then when we come together online, there needs to be a greater culture of how we share that information and how we're solving problems. And the collective, all of us across the globe creating that data, We have all of our answers. So for a buyer to come in, they allow themselves to unlock those answers, right? And then share the positive benefits back to those individuals that sold it.
No, I love that. And I think that visualizes the life cycle of the parties and how we all work in tandem together. And you say this in final, again, all of these items are reinforced through podcasts, video podcasts, notifications, direct communication, and educational material published online. So we're communicating with the seller. I mean, not only are we communicating with you guys, but we're communicating with the seller just as much.
Yeah, because coercion never worked well.
Right. No.
And education works. That's why we allowed you to poke around in the system. We're not going to prohibit you from doing so. Go use it and study the tool. I'm not going to ask you to go fly a plane if you've had no training on it. I'm not going to ask you to sell your information if you really don't know who we are. You know, we want to put it out all on the table for you. It's for your benefit as a buyer or a seller.
Yeah, I mean, because if we're being transparent and we're educating,
we're not here to create any harm.
Yes,
we're not here to sway you into doing something you otherwise shouldn't be doing. We just know what's going to help this world.
Right.
And you as a buyer can, especially people, you know, the buyers have a lot of resources. You can facilitate a lot of change. But buying data from TARTLE will help you facilitate the proper change.
Yeah, and how to buy data, you go to TARTLE, TARTLE.co.co. Sign up. You'll see a button on the right-hand side. You can sell your data while you're there. Also, if you want to play around with that, you know, I heard somebody talking about that. It's like, well, let me try that first before I go into, you know, buying. So either way, I mean, you could put your personal information in there, roll with that, kind of see how the system works on both sides.
Yeah, a lot of our buyers have come in and they're, not to go any longer on this, but they're usually personally inquisitive.
Yes.
And then professionally inquisitive.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's fantastic. And it allows you to holistically see both sides of how this whole thing comes together.
Yeah, so we encourage you, like you said, poke around.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
And if you're a company that wants to sell info, open yourself up a new annuity stream.
Yes.
If you've been hoarding all that data, let's start to unlock the value of it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. TARTLE.co.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?